Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where...
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like... Fucker!
You fucker! Hey, fucker!
Oh! Huh? What the f...
Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime. I'm your online voice for reviews of your choice, and this is another installment of BS Reviews. Thank you all for tuning in. I apologize in advance if my voice sounds less than stellar. Unfortunately, I'm suffering a major cold right now, and it makes me feel, sniff, and like shit. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to deal with this review as is until this cold passes by. Today, I'll be reviewing the latest film from Mike Judge, creator of Office Space and Beavis and Butthead, two programs I have loved very dearly for a long time now. And this latest film that he has created is known as Extract. Extract is brought to you by 3 Arts Entertainment Pictures and was, as I said, written and directed by Mike Judge. It stars Jason Bateman as Joel, Mila Kunis as Cindy, Kristen Wiig as Susie, Ben Affleck as Dean, J.K. Simmons as Brian, Clifton Collins Jr. as Step, and Dustin Milligan as Brad. The plot of Extract. Joel is the owner of an extract plant, which basically just takes like the fruit and juice out of food products into like a little bottle format, as far as I know about it. And he's trying to sell his company for a very big settlement, which will basically make him and most of the other higher-ups very rich, while the employees won't unfortunately benefit from this. Unfortunately, he's suffering major personal and professional problems when one of his workers, Step, accidentally gets one of his balls shot off from a work-related accident, and now he fears that he's going to sue the company, causing the sell-over for the company to be basically put on hold. This is mostly influenced by Cindy, a new girl who starts working at the plant, primarily because she's a scam artist, and she plans to use Step's lawsuit as a means of getting the company's money for herself, while at the same time she's caught the attraction and attention of Joel, who wants to date her but doesn't want to feel guilty about it since he's married to Susie. So he hires a moron pool boy, aka Gigolo, named Brad, to sleep with her, or tempt her to sleep with her, so that he won't feel as guilty about dating Cindy. Unfortunately, not everything goes as planned. Review of the plot of Extract. Not surprising, Mike Judge has returned back to the one area where he works best at, and that's making us laugh in the workplace. This actually really has a lot of potential in terms of the ideas that are available in this film. The nice thing about Extract is while it's not as goofy and ridiculous as some comedies, because a lot of the setups here are actually very believable ones. There's this really amusing running gag with David Koechner, I don't know how to say it, who plays Nathan, this annoying neighbor. And what really works about the script is that a lot of these setups and stories you can actually see happening. That's one of the magical things that works with Mike Judge's work. He makes you laugh, and he makes you, notice these real life things. These little things that we happen to do in real life that we all come up on, and he brings it to more focus with a movie like this. The whole idea of having people working together and all the little quips and problems. Like there's this one woman, Mary, played by Beth Grant, who's constantly accusing the Hispanic workers of being a thief. That kind of ignorant prejudice, and the whole situation with, feeling guilty about wanting to dating a girl while doing this. It's all very stupid stuff that real people would probably do, because that's an idea of what things are like in the workplace. People get that, stupid, they get that agitated, and they do crazy things. And it works well in the script. They have all this set up very nicely around. And I really like the fact that you had so many good concepts all around each other. Review the characters. Jason Bateman is always good. I've always liked him. He pretty much plays the same character he always has in this one again. It's not a bad thing. It tends to get problematic sometimes when you want someone to be different and they don't. I think he was not as funny as he was here in Hancock. I liked him better in that. But he was good in this. He was particularly humorous in this one scene. It's probably one of the funniest moments of the film, where he's smoking pot and he's just getting all hallucinogenic and paranoid. It was really amusing, and he really pulled it off well. So I give him credit for that. Mila Kunis, I've always liked. I always loved her ever since I saw Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I think she's a beautiful, adorable, and lovely actress with a good sense of humor, and I think she's just great on screen and off screen, like on Family Guy with the voice of Meg. And I like her. I liked her in this. I thought she had an interesting role. I just don't think they used her properly. Kristen Wiig, funny as Susie, she was good. She actually did a little bit better job than I expected. Ben Affleck was definitely probably one of the standout ones, since you almost can't even tell it's him by the long ass hair and the beard that's coming around him. He played a very hippie-ish, weird-like character, and a lot of people hate Ben Affleck, but I kind of like him in some degree. I admit he's made a shitload of stinkers in the past, but this one was a funny role. I also enjoyed him in Armageddon, even though everyone hated that movie. I actually liked the movie a lot. J.K. Simmons was okay. He had a funny concept, like a funny character concept, but I don't think he executed it right. That's just my opinion. Clifton Collins Jr. is an actor that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with, and it's a shame because I think he's a very talented young man. I've seen him in such films as Rules of Attraction, Mindhunters, Crank High Voltage, and he was in J.J. Abrams' new Star Trek film. I think he's a very talented young man, and I think he's very good. I think he's I like his accent, and I think he did a good job here. I think he's a very good actor that, again, I don't think is used very effectively. I think you could have used more with him. I think he should have taken a more affirmative role in this film, like a more, impressionable role. Something like taking more effort into the role, I guess you could say. David Koechner was hilarious as Nathan. He's definitely a person I could picture seeing in my life, and he's always funny. I don't think people really notice just how much comedic work he does or gives it the acknowledgement I think he deserves, so I tip my hat to him. And Brad was humorous. Dustin Milligan, who played Brad, he played quite the dunce, and he worked really well for the part. Let's just put it like that. You kind of have to see him to just see how stupid this person could be. Review of the music and cinematography. Music was alright. It was okay. I mean, there wasn't anything great here. They definitely like to use certain songs over and over again, and I think they stretched it out a little bit too much on how much music they actually use in terms of the scenes, so I was kind of disappointed in that, but not a big deal. Cinematography is good. There's not really much to look at in this movie. For the things that they do need, they use it really well. I mean, they definitely made good use of the comedic shots, like of the shots of Joel's wife putting on the sweatpants. It just looks funnier from the way the camera zooms up on it, or the whole slow motion sequence that they got when the Steps character gets his balls sliced in half, or just all of the scenes where, like, when Joel was smoking and all paranoid. It was all shot well in the comedic scenes. It was well where it was needed and average where else it was needed. So it was an even mix, I'd say. Flaws about the film. Regretfully, I have more bad to say about this film than good. Being as someone who has watched Mike Judge's work for a while, I have to say this is a pretty big disappointment in terms of comedy. As I said earlier in the review, one of the magic parts about his work is that Mike Judge is capable of making comedy mixed with real-life situations that we could all see. Unfortunately here, there's not so much in the comedy. This is actually a very dull and boring movie. It really wasn't that funny. There wasn't that much humor in it. As I said before, the ideas and the story elements and the concepts that are here are funny, but this was not exactly a ha-ha-ha funny movie. The advantage that worked with Office Space was that it had these hilariously exaggerated characters who were just getting so pissed off at where they're working that they did it to the point where it was funny as well as believable. Like, you could see these people doing this. Whereas here, it's almost too real in the sense that it's boring and not that exciting. They had good concepts to make it interesting, but it just wasn't. A lot of the acting was okay. It was subpar. It wasn't supreme. It wasn't terrible, but it was just kind of middle. It didn't really go anywhere and didn't do anything. It wasn't that funny. It wasn't that compelling. Aside from one really amusing cameo role with Gene Simmons, who plays this asshole lawyer, there really wasn't much to talk about in this film. None of the actors were really the ones that were actually funny and good were not used as effectively, and the script just wasn't even that funny. The movies shouldn't even been rated R. There's barely any need for it for the amount of so-called swearing they put in the film. This is just a big disappointment. It lacks the humor and the flair that I think Mike Judge's work was famous for, and I had to say this is probably the weakest attempt I've ever seen him give. Final wrap-up, Extract had some really good ideas. It had some amusing situations, particularly with the annoying neighbor Nathan by David Koechner, and Mila Kunis was fun in this. I liked Clifton Collins Jr., and Ben Affleck was very good in this, but overall, there was a very lackluster just flair to this movie. It was very dull, boring, and not that funny. There weren't that many good jokes. It was kind of stale and dull. This is a very weak attempt from Mike Judge. It's a very disappointing film for him. In all honesty, I would say you should wait till this comes out on video to rent it or Netflix. This is not really worth the money you should pay the show for it. It's an okay movie, not great, not terrible, but just bland and dull. I'm fortunate and sorry to say this, but bottom line, I give Extract 2 stars out of 5. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye for now.